but the venue, of course, has its special place as well. And we can see that Wembley Park, well, I should say Wembley Stadium, was being built there to make way for what they're calling the best of the Race of Champions circuits ever. So great to have it here. The legion of motorsport fans this time of year in the UK are really looking forward to some good motorsport, and they're really going to have it. Now, I'm really pleased to have sitting alongside me a guy who, well, he could be down there easily competing in the Race of Champions himself, and he's former British Touring Car champion, Tim Harvey.
Thank you very much, Rob. Pleasure to be here, and what an exciting event. This is always a little bit of fun for the drives at the end of the year, but my goodness, it doesn't take long before they get competitive, because they're all doing it for free, but the old competitive instincts come out, and as soon as the crash helmet goes on and you get behind the wheel of the car, they want to win. And there have been some upsets in previous years as well, and some very strong performances, so some egos are there to be bashed and some reputations to be made.
And the defending champions in the Nations Cup continue on their winning ways. That, of course, was Finland, who we saw putting out Norway before we went to the break. And we're now looking at Michael Schumacher on the grid. In Tim, what's quite an interesting car.
Yeah, a new car to the Nations Cup and Race of Champions. It's the Solution F touring car, which is a silhouette touring car, a 3.5 litre engine producing 310 horsepower and rear-wheel drive. So expect to see the guys kicking the back end out.
That's it, and it's Jenson Button, of course, who is against Michael Schumacher here. So England v Germany.
Yeah, we're in the semi-final stages. Earlier in the day, we had the grudge match between England and Scotland, and of course, England, represented by Button and Prio, knocked out Coulthard and McRae.
2-0 is what 2-0 it was as well.
Look at that concentration on Button's face. Wow, does he want this or not? And I haven't seen him blink yet, let alone take a breath. And in the other quarter-final...
Oh, this is close. Oh, who's going to do it? It's very, very close across the line. Well, I couldn't see who had the advantage there, Tim, but like you say, I mean, everybody wants Michael Schumacher's scalp, and absolutely everybody. Yeah, okay, you've been out of racing for a while, I don't care. Yeah. Jenson Button wants Michael Schumacher's scalp big time.
Well, don't forget, Schumacher's been back testing the Ferrari, and very impressively as well, not with any view to a comeback, but just to show everybody that he is still the master. And, well, Button with an uncompetitive Honda F1 car, you've got to say, for the last couple of seasons, he'd love to take a scalp off Schumacher while he's still considered that competitive. Germany knocked out the USA in the previous heat.
They sure did, and it was actually good.
There's lots of noise. What's going on? Button's still going.
I think Schumacher's going to have him, though.
Building up to the last corner, Button's on the inside. He's got the shorter run to the line. Schumacher's just in front.
Oh!
Very close.
I'll tell you what, Tim, it looked like maybe Jenson Button had come back on him, but 0.4 of a second. Button will not be pleased, but what a good race to the line.
That was a fantastic race, really good, and the crowd really got behind that home run, didn't they? Look at that.
Very, very pleased indeed.
Michael, it's a very different kind of cockpit for you, the Super 2000.
Absolutely, too close.
So are you looking forward to this race? Is it easy?
No, not at all. It's not my most competition to have close cars. I like to see my wheels.
Are you impressed with your young teammate?
Yeah, I think now he has to help me out big time.
And what about this? Can you see a future in this kind of car?
No.
Thank you.
Kovalainen against Schumacher.
Now again, this has happened before, and Kovalainen has won 2004. One of the guys he beat on his way to taking the Race of Champions, I should say, was Michael Schumacher. Oh! Schumacher hasn't moved!
Unbelievable! Schumacher stalled it on the line. Can you believe it? The embarrassment of a 7 times Formula One champion at Wembley, the scene of the great British victory over Germany in 1966, and it's a dudden for Schumacher.
I think it's all over. It is now. Well, Tim, is it possible he could have had a drive shaft break or something, or has he purely just stalled it? I think he's just stalled it.
Well, I tell you what he's done. He's done that age-old trick, and it just shows Schumacher hasn't lost any of his competitive instinct. He's gone and parked it for a lap, hoping for a rerun. I don't reckon they'll give him a rerun, but I reckon he parked it, a bit like he did in Monaco, you know? He's hoping that they'll stop the session and rerun it. Maybe he can claim a mechanical failure. But no, he's got going now, and he's going to try and put put some distance between Kovalainen, who hasn't really got to do anything. This must be very funny for Kovalainen. He's right behind him. He knows he's won because there's no way Schumacher can catch up.
No.
So he's just going to harry him all the way around now.
Must be tempting. Ooh, just to give him a little bit of a tap. Because it wouldn't be too much damage there. It wouldn't cause too much problem. And he doesn't have, Kovalainen doesn't have to drive that car again.
Well, trust me, if Kovalainen was a touring car, if he was a touring car driver, he'd be giving him a tap, because then he could say, you know, there I was being held up by Michael Schumacher. And interestingly here, because Schumacher is styling it, he's putting it big time sideways just to style it for the crowd, and it just shows that the smoother approach is actually quicker.
Yeah, front-wheel drive car, Tim, as you'll know. Oh, and Kovalainen adds insult to injury.
Well, you're not supposed to be able to overtake here at all.
Oh, Schumacher must have been pretty nice to him. Well, you know about a bit of bumping and banging as a touring car champion yourself. Tim, go on, you'd be nudging him by now.
Oh, I'd have put him in the wall, for sure.
Now, Tim, these cars, though, must be one of the most difficult ones for them to adapt to, because front-wheel drive and power-to-grip ratio, if you like, probably the most amount of grip for the amount of power they've got. Kovalainen takes the win.
Yeah.
The biggest win I've ever seen.
Yeah, I've never seen an overtake like that on the line. That was fantastic.
So Schumacher, here we go.
This was off the line. Oh, no! He was actually holding it on the handbrake, wasn't he? He was holding it on the handbrake, and
not enough revs.
Stalled it, yeah.
Not enough revs. It's this car.
Now he's sitting there. Let's see. He's now sitting there thinking, oh, not my fault. You know, what can I do?
And it's this car in particular that what they've tended to do is just bounce it right off the rev limiter, which is like a traction control. Is that not right?
Well, what they're doing is they're sitting it on the rev limiter. They're sulking. Yeah, I beat you. Overtook you even. Now, interesting. It's very different to see Michael Schumacher not in his Ferrari overalls. First time in years. I'm absolutely sure we won't see him race Formula 1 again. I hope we do see him race other things, because the guy's he's just a talent we love to see. I love to see anybody doing anything as well as they can, and he's a master at his art.
Oh, that was Kovalainen just losing out to Andy Prio. And like yourself, Tim, you know, when you won the British Touring Car Championship, you come back, you race Porsche Series, and you end up throwing yourself into this cauldron of competition against all these young GT drivers. You've been vice champion 3 times now. You must think to yourself, hang on a second, I was doing this for a bit of fun.
Well, yeah, unfortunately for me, the competitive instincts get in the way, and once you get in there, you want to win. But
first semi-final here at Wembley. Keep your eyes fixed on that screen. On the left-hand side of your screen is Michael Schumacher, 7 times world champion. On the outside, Sebastian Bourdais, 4 times American Champ Car champion. This is the semi-final. Who's going to make it through to the final out of these 2 for the 2007 Race of Champions?
Well, Schumacher didn't stall it this time like he did earlier in the night. He's got his focus race head on now. Perfect lines. They'll be right up to the barriers. He's giving it the max. But it's Bourdais who actually got the traction down slightly better off the line.
Bourdais had an accident, a small accident nonetheless, in one of these cars earlier when they were doing the Nations Cup, and his throttle stuck open a little bit. Schumacher's got a lead, a visual lead, as we keep saying. That's a half a lap done, and I think maybe my guesstimation is that Bourdais or Schumacher is slightly ahead. That's a guess.
But if he is at the moment, I reckon it's only a tenth or 2. It's very, very close. But there's no sort of controlled action now. It's flat out. You have to take the risk. No reward, no risk, no reward.
That's it, Michael
Here we go.
Schumacher.
Look how close that is.
0.3 of a second. That's pretty good. That's pretty good against the how Bourdais been doing today. So that's a pretty stunning performance after that one full lap, Tim.
Yeah, it's like watching Schumacher in slow motion doing a qualifying lap, isn't it? There's so much precision there and minimization of movement. You don't see him soaring at the wheel. It's tiny little inputs, little flicks, tiny little inputs, and really precise lines. It's great to watch him. I love watching him in this ROCUK car because you really see the input.
Yeah, so often, Tim, we just don't get to see what we're seeing there. The hands on the steering wheel, the hands moving. So everyone at home can appreciate. Like you say, that's exactly what happens in a Formula 1 car. It just happens much, much faster, and the movements are shorter. But that's exactly what Michael Schumacher has been the best at the world at for forever.
Supreme judgment of speed, feel for grip. And there's the result.
And that is a great result. Over a second, he's absolutely smoked Sebastian Bourdais.
He's on it. He's never won this event. So
no, he hasn't.
Something that's not on his CV. He would love to do it, and he's now in the final.